Hey, what do you say? How you doing? Welcome to Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, Queens. We're here, one of my favorite places in the world, looking at the Unisphere, the largest representation of the globe in the world, built by the United States Steel Corporation, 13 stories high. The 3 orbit rings are for Yuri Gagarin, John Glenn, and the Telstar 1 satellite. Welcome. Beautiful day here in Queens, and I'm even more happy for the simple fact that I got an entire lunch for $6. Good to see you, Lori. I got an entire lunch for just $6. Good to see you, Norm from Bangor, Pennsylvania. It's beautiful out here. Let's go say hello to the rocket thrower and the time capsule, and then we'll proceed on into the Queens Museum, and then I'll restart the broadcast inside the Queens Museum. It is freakishly warm out here today in New York. Freakishly warm. It feels like summer almost. And we have this cool exhibit here. Good to see a guy, Heyman, driving the roads of America. We have this exhibit here called Fences Make Good Neighbors. And look at this, it's so cool. People are just lounging in this. Good to see you from the freezing Finland. Hopefully my broadcast brings you some warmth. Look at this craziness. Fences make good neighbors. And you could use this like a hammock. So let's sit. You remember this? Remember this from the World's Fair? Norm was here for it. And Norm, when we go inside and see the panorama, you're going to be amazed. So this is like a big hammock here, huh? I can lie out in the hammock. Let's see. Let's see if I can lie out here in the hammock. Ooh, it looks comfy. Is it comfy? Ooh, it is comfy. Whoa. Yeah, stay warm. The fair was in 1960. There were actually 2 World's Fairs here. 1964, 1965. That was not a real fair. That was a kind of a Robert Moses kind of thing. And good to see you, Ed. And then the real World's Fair that we had here, the official World's Fair that we had here, that was back in 1939, 1940. Good fences make good neighbors. Was there 5 times. Oh, I'll give anything. I would give anything. So this fence is set up all around the city. Good to see you, Paul, from Big Rapids, Michigan. Good to see you. Yeah, right. You see a bad case of I Love Lucy. And there was a Lucy Day here for the 1964-1965 World's Fair. Off in the distance, the Tent of Tomorrow and the New York Pavilion. This thing looks rather comfortable. I might have to partake in lying out in a little bit, but there's lots of people lounging on it. Let's look at our rocket thrower. Got our rocket thrower here, are the Fountain of the Planets. Yeah, you could run around the fence. You could run around the fence. You could, well, they want you to lie down in it, kind of like a hammock. But you could easily get over it and get inside the fountain if you wanted to. Exactly, the Men in Black Towers. That's right, right over there. Right over there. We'll go say hello to the time capsule in a little bit. Because I think Norm, you put something in the time capsule, right? Having the best Polish Mexican style beer. Awesome. Good to see you, Jan. It's beautiful out here today. It's freakishly warm. It is truly freakishly warm today. It is like a summer day. I am in a t-shirt. Yeah, the kids could crawl on it. You could lie out in it like a hammock. Look at the rocket thrower, looking good. Look at the rocket thrower. I wish, in my heart of hearts, I will get these fountains reactivated. I think they should get even if it's just for the U.S. Open. This is not healthy, Marcus. This is not healthy weather. Believe me. Look at our beautiful rocket thrower from the 1964 World's Fair. Love that guy. Love that guy. And you can see the leaves are beginning to changing color here. Right, you sign your name on a piece of paper. Let's go see where Norm left his name all those years ago, some 52 years ago. Beautiful Unisphere. There's actually a great documentary, mini documentary about how they built this on YouTube. Just look up World's Biggest Globe. World's Biggest Globe, and you see the entire construction process of the Unisphere. Let's make our way over to the New York Pavilion and the Tent of Tomorrow. And we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with it. Still trying to figure out what we're going to do with these buildings. Hopefully, in my heart of hearts, I want it to be a music venue. I think the Tent of Tomorrow lends itself to be a fantastic music venue, considering that a lot of musical acts played in there during the World's Fair. Later on, it was a roller rink, and then the beautiful tiled roof, if you will, made out of plexiglass. Unfortunately, the plexiglass tiles started falling, and when the plexiglass tiles fell, it destroyed the big, beautiful mosaic that was built. They had built a mosaic on the floor. It was a big map of the state of New York, and unfortunately, that thing got destroyed over the years. There's literally just a couple of panels left. But I always say that it's easy to recreate, and hopefully they'll do that, along with making a new venue. Yeah, it closed way back in the early, well, I will say late 70s. It closed for good because they thought it was too dangerous to have people in there. So, but now with all the new focus on Queens, is you remember the glass elevators? One of the elevators is at the base of the towers, and another glass elevator is in the Queens Museum somewhere. And they're like, they want to restore it, but at this point, I don't think they have the money to do that. But God, I love coming out here. My lunch was so cheap today, and it's beautiful. The weather's really nice. Great day out here today. Great day here in New York. I tell you. The High Point. There's also another great little documentary about what it's like to come to the fair, called simply To the Fair. That's on the National Archives. There's a version of it here on YouTube, but it's not really that great. The quality's not that great, so go to the National Archive, and they have it streaming over there for free. To the Fair is a quite interesting film. Chronicles the visitation of a few different people, a couple of Boy Scouts, a couple of different families, one from India, one from the States, I'm thinking, since they drove in. Theater-Rama, directly in front of us today, the Queen's Theater. But that is the Theater-Rama building. That's what it was originally called. Really great institution here in Queens. And what's amazing about the Theater-Rama is the roof is all wood. You went to the Science Museum 4 years ago. Awesome. Yeah, the Science Museum got a lot of stuff going on over there too. It is so clean, right? It's Queens, baby. It's Queens. This is New York. We take pride. We do take pride in the city now, so it's not as messy as it used to be back in the day. We're gonna walk over to the time capsule right now. And actually both time capsules in the in the 70s we kind of didn't care about the city. A lot of New Yorkers began to move away, and there wasn't a pride in the city. When I look back at history, and sorry about the wind noise if it's really windy. When I look back at history, and I look back at times when people took pride in the city, the mid-70s, early 80s was a particularly unloving time for the city. And absolutely, well, the people want that back. Believe me, Marcus, people want the gritty Times Square back. And lots of food stands at the fair, absolutely. The Belgian waffles, probably the most famous. Good to see you, Dave. Oh, I know, me too. I love this area too. Good to see you, Dave. Thanks for tuning on in. They repainted the ring here, the tension ring. This building here was designed by Philip Johnson. Now that roof there, that's supposed to have multicolored kind of plexiglass tiles. And unfortunately, when the building began to give way, well, not give way, but, you know, they weren't maintained. Once the tiles fell, they had to close this structure. But hopefully, I think this is a perfect, just the way it is, just redo the roof, fix the lighting situation. And I think the Belgian waffles were everybody's favorite. People still reminisce about them today. It's a Philip Johnson building. This is the thing that gets me nuts. This is the thing that drives me nuts. This is a Philip Johnson building. Norm rode the elevator right there. The elevator would go right up. The top was an observation deck, and I believe this was like a restaurant down here, right? There was a restaurant on there, one of those platforms. But this is a Philip Johnson masterpiece, kind of like a futuristic piazza that you will find out in maybe Italy or something like that. But this is the New York State Pavilion, and this is the tent of tomorrow. I think it's perfect for a music venue. Just fix the roof, redo the lighting, which they're doing right now. Oh, absolutely, Griff. If you want to come out here, Griff, we'll come out here. I would love to show you out here. And there's more exciting stuff. Wait until we get inside the Queen's Museum. But I think this will be a perfect music venue. But right across from the tent of tomorrow, in this little area right over there, that's the old Westinghouse exhibit. And that is where the time capsule is. You know, that's what they're trying to do, Jan. The money that they got to paint it and to do they basically checked the structure. The structure is, people were kept on saying in the media that, oh, the structure's falling apart. Quite the opposite. The foundation is actually quite strong. And the structure itself has very few deficiencies to it. Basically, only the roof needs to be replaced. All the lighting fixtures are somewhat still there. And here it is. Here's a time capsule from both 1964, 1965, and 1938 and 1939 World's Fairs. So somewhere beneath my feet right now, Norm has a piece of paper that he wrote on when he was a kid. I think this is so cool. The first one is dedicated, as he deposited on September 23rd, 1938. And then the second one from 1965, October 16th, 1965. The Westinghouse Corporation. It is to endure for 5,000 years. Always quality content from me. Always. I find it now, the truth be told, because a tour guide told me this, because a tour guide who knows more about Flushing Meadows than I do, the capsules are not directly underneath this. They're actually right here. The time capsules are set. There's one right here and there's one right here, and they're shafts. They go down about 40 feet beneath me, but they're in Norm's name is in a kind of like a glass vial that's pressurized, and then that is surrounded with an aluminum kind of casing. And basically there's like a Beatles album in there. There's a bunch of people's signatures, including Norm's. There's a guidebook to the 1964 World's Fair. And 38, they put in like nylon pantyhose. What else? A bunch of, I mean, the list of stuff is so funny and so wacky when you look at it, because it was futuristic stuff when they put that down there. But there it is. Hopefully our civilization will endure for 5,000 years. I would love to be here on a day. Oh yeah. Well, the Beatles album, it's a single too, because they only had so much room in there, so it is a 45 single. But yeah, there's a Beatles album in there. And here it is, right across the way. And you see, it's quiet. It's not in a very loud spot. So we have the Grand Central Parkway right over there. And you see, it's just right here next to the highway. Right here. And I actually, if you look at pictures, the trees that surround this circle here, these trees were here in 64. These trees were here in 64, so. They're actually a lot smaller back then, but. You rode in a new Ford Mustang riding at the Ford Pavilion there. You traveled through time. Norm sat in a brand new 1964 Mustang, and he traveled through time, every time from the caveman to the future. That was one of the rides that Walt Disney himself kind of looked over. and you rode in a real car. You rode in a real car. That was the kind of thing that amazed me about the Ford exhibit, was that you rode in a real car and you went around, you traveled through time. That was the story. You traveled through time. And by the way, videos of all these rides are available on YouTube, so you can check them out. I could imagine Norm, you know, Norm is the 1964-65 World's Fair and the other one in 38-39. Those were the World's Fairs that I would love to see. I have read so many histories, you know, news stories and even personal stories about how people visited the fairs. And, you know, touch-tone dialing was shown for a big part here at the 64 fair. And colored television. Well, television itself was introduced at 39 fair, but color TV, portable color TVs were all a rave. And now, today this is a skate park, but this used to be the Astral Fountain. We still have World's Fairs. They've gone to Asian countries, so they're in Korea now and China. Picture phone, that's right, the picture phone. There you go, the picture phone, which never made it. But right here, there was a fountain, and there was a large shaft right here with stars on it, and the whole thing will emit water and shine bright lights. And then just behind this was the Vatican Pavilion. And now we're going to look down towards the Unisphere and make our way over to the Queen's Museum, because I am itching to get into the Queen's Museum. I am really dying to see the panorama doing its light cycle again. It's amazing. So much history here. So much history here. Now, the first documented instance of this area was back in the Great Gatsby book. And they talk about driving through the Valley of Ash. This used to be the ash dump, the coal dump for Brooklyn. So you literally had mounds and mounds of ash here. And then Robert Moses, beginning in 1935, began leveling off the area. And he began turning it into a park. And then by 38, you had your World's Fair. The 38 World's Fair was quite amazing because it was the World's Fair right before World War II. So, for instance, you had Germany with their exhibit, and they had an exhibit from Krupp's. And at the time, Krupp's was building large weaponry. Beautiful day to come see the Unisphere, absolutely. General Motors had cars that drove by computer, that's right. That was the dream, to have radar-controlled automobiles in 38, 39, and in 64 and 65. 64, 65, I believe they actually had self-driving cars. You saw the self-driving car drive itself. Exactly, to think all of this rose from ash. Well, think about this. You know, you guys were kids in 64, 65. You know, Norm was here seeing picture phones. And exactly, now Krupp's makes coffee machines, exactly. But think about this. Here I am broadcasting to all of you guys all around the world with something the size of a candy bar. My iPhone 6 is the size of a candy bar. Think about that. I think that's always amazing. Anytime I go live, it always amazes me that all of you guys can see this. From New York to LA, from Finland to Australia. And I mean, if you were to tell somebody, it's very amazing, and it still really does get to me, like a little kid. Yeah, the picture phone, that was a big deal. Right, you was 12 and 13, wow. So Norm was walking down this very path when he was 12 and 13 years old. And now the Unisphere used to have lights on it at all the capital cities. So unfortunately got rid of those though. Good to see you, Denise. We were reminiscing about the World's Fairs. You saw it at Disneyland? And people saw it in New York. That's right. It's a small world attraction. The exact same one is still in operation today, 52 years later, out in Disneyland in Anaheim, California. I find that so amazing. It's so amazing. I mean, it is really sweet. It's beautiful. It's so warm out. I cannot really get over how warm it is out here. I was going to ride the bike out here, but I said to myself, it's going to be 75. It's 75 degrees, by the way, right now. And I said, wow, 75 degrees. It's a little warm. Let me take the train. It's a good idea. Isn't this beautiful? Right behind it is the tennis center, U.S. Tennis Center, Billie Jean Tennis Center. I've never been to a World's Fair either. The last World's Fair that was here in the United States was in Knoxville, Tennessee, back in 1982. The AMF monorail I could imagine, was amazing to ride. So here's the Unisphere. Good to see you out to sea. There's the Queens Museum. That's the New York City Pavilion. And then we have our tent of tomorrow. And then if we keep on going behind the Astral Fountain, that was where the amusement zone was, and then that's where the monorail, the AMF monorail, did its little loop. The monorail did a loop around the amusement zone. And then behind in this direction here, you would have your Futurama 2, and then the Ford exhibit would be kind of behind the Queens Museum here on the other side of the highway in the transportation zone. But welcome to Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, Queens. It is time. I don't know. We'll get them sooner or later. Exactly. The spaceships from Men in Black. Good to see you, Miss Parker. That was a big deal. The Bell Telephone exhibit was a big deal. Was a very big deal. Now I want to, before we go inside, I want to hopefully show you guys. I thought they came here naturally, but they haven't come here naturally. The New York Parks Department brought over a pair of red-tailed hawks to kind of clean the park, to kind of maintain it. And they have a child now. So the family has gone to 3 red-tailed hawks. But when I got here, one of the hawks was flying all around the Unisphere here. And before I go inside, it's huge. The bird is absolutely massive and huge. But this is from the this little netting here. This is like that exhibit again called "Good Fences Make Good Neighbors" by the exiled Chinese artist Ai Weiwei. The GE Progress, Carousel of Progress, and another one I would give anything to see. Let's see if we could see the red-tailed hawk one last time. I'm on live. Sorry about that. Kim Kung Fu. That's right. Jim Jung. Okay. If I had my choice to live, I would live in Queens. They don't have a hawk camera. No, they don't. I think somebody wanted to do that though. Somebody wanted to get a hawk camera for whatchamacallit. Yeah, some guy actually just asked me to take a picture. I can't have you guys on the gimbal right now. And plus, I don't want to have them on my broadcast here. Being a little selfish, but. You guys are watching. It feels like it wants to rain, but I know it's not going. If it does rain, it's not going to rain a lot. But it's so warm out here. Okay, the hawk is playing hard to get. It's playing hawk to get. So let's make our way into the museum. Keep this broadcast short and sweet for about a half hour. Just got the signal. Good to see you, Boozy. Well, we're gonna get to the good stuff. The gimbal is very smooth. This is a fun exhibit. It's pretty cool. And we're going to go into the Queens Museum. I'm going to re-rack. I'm going to top off the battery on my phone. And then we will explore the beautiful architectural model, the world's largest architectural model that is the the panorama of New York City. Don't you love the fence? Remember, it's like a hammock. So you can lie out in it, you can climb all over it, enjoy the coffee.
Climb like you're climbing.
Yeah. I love interactive art. I love art you can climb all over. The fountain is always drained for the winter time because you can mess up the piping. But it has been refurbished, but unfortunately they only turn it on when the U.S. Open is here. And if there's one time I do not like coming here to Flushing Meadows Corona Park is when the US Open is here, because besides the crappy fans, they turned the whole park into a parking lot. That's right, you rode the US Royal Ferris wheel 5 times. That Ferris wheel is now on the side of the road, I believe in Michigan or in Wisconsin. One of those states. One of them did try to kill me, that's right. I forgot all about that, that's right. But he was a big tennis fan. All right, folks. I hope you guys like this little walk around Flushing Meadows Corona Park. We're gonna do this again when the museum closes, and we'll come out here when it gets dark, and we'll see the Unisphere all lit up in lights. But now I'm gonna go inside, saved by the helmet, exactly. Yeah, I remember that. But, right, it's outside of Detroit. There you go. Guy Hammond, you've probably seen it driving, right? Well, have a fantastic Queen's Day, whether you live here or not. Yep, time for the museum model. Dr. John, good to see you. Hug your loved ones, cherish the moment. And good afternoon, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. I'll be back on in about 20 minutes, a half hour, and we will be inside the Queen's Museum. And you have awesome. I'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye. And the plane is flying. The plane is flying. Yes, I do have permission. I do have permission, Ava. I don't do this stuff just willy-nilly. I'm a broadcaster, not a scoper. See you later, folks.